In context ng sinabi mo kanina na it's within our power to make these decisions.
I believe what is the controlling decisions there, Your Honor, are the cases of Gutierrez and Francisco. Because in those cases, the issue of what is an impeachable offense was squarely brought before the court, and the court said very clearly that that is purely a political question that's not within the judicial power for us to decide. And I believe that that should be the controlling jurisprudence.
So let me be more specific. So for example, we issue some subpoenas and we do not issue some. Can one or both of you, meaning the prosecution and defense, go to the Supreme Court and question it?
Well, there is always the possibility that some side, perhaps the defense, may claim that there is a grave abuse of discretion, I believe, as they have done in their other petitions filed, and therefore make an attempt to stop the proceedings before this court. But as I have said last week, Your Honor, in our opinion, it is this court has the sole and exclusive power to decide what an impeachable offense is, and no one, not even the Supreme Court, can dictate on this court in making that decision.
Yes. Same answer.
No, Your Honor.
No,
I have a different...
So, okay, you can go back to that question. Then my follow-up question was, so let's say certain orders of the court, can the prosecution or defense go up to the Supreme Court and question its constitutionality?
Yes, Your Honor. It is our position that either of the parties can do that. Why? Because sa atin yang sabi natin kanina, that the Constitution cannot be read in isolation. So while the Constitution gives the sole power to the Senate to try an impeachment case, to try and hear an impeachment case, we must read this in conjunction with, again, Article 3, Bill of Rights, and Article 8, specifically Section 1, which is the power of the judicial review. So, pag sa tingin po ng isang panig, merong grave abuse of discretion na naganap, we are of the position that, in fact, this is a justiciable issue and can be brought before the Supreme Court, Your Honor.
So at least in that small point, I think we all agree that if we think there's grave abuse of discretion, there's a possibility that the Supreme Court will take it up. I'm not referring to the subpoena, I'm talking in general. So I'll skip a few pages of my questions precisely because I wanted to elicit your opinions or your stand regarding the fact that the impeachment court is supreme, but it's not true that we can do anything or we can just make decisions that are not based on statutes and on legal orders. In fact, when the Supreme Court issued a TRO regarding the foreign accounts or the dollar account in the Corona case, the impeachment court voted to respect the TRO. No? But of course, we did vote. So there could have been a constitutional crisis if we voted not to. And then, of course, we know because of history, nag-waiver na lang si Chief Justice Corona. No? So can I go now to the ultimate facts? No? I don't know if Senator Joel, but Senator Pia asked a little bit about this. Just a quick review, or maybe, so we're also governed by the rules of court when it comes to ultimate facts. This is what Section 1 says. In general, every pleading shall contain in a methodological and logical form a plain, concise, and direct statement of the ultimate facts, including the evidence, on which the party relies on his or her claim of defense, as the case may be. If a cause of action or defense relied on is based on law, the pertinent provisions thereof and their applicability to him or her will be clearly and concisely stated. So does the two counsels agree that sa ultimate facts, you have to include the evidence?
I would make a distinction, Your Honor, between what we call ultimate facts and evidentiary facts, which are the pieces of evidence that could be used to come to the conclusion or to decide whether those ultimate facts are present in the case or not.
Yeah, I think all of us lawyers agree with that. There's a difference between ultimate facts and evidentiary facts. But the rules of court says, including evidence. Kasi kung walang including evidence, di ang kailangan mo lang i-file ultimate facts. Pero pag sinabing kasama ang evidence, for me, it doesn't mean that every single testimony in every single document should be attached. But so let me go to my second question. So pwede bang sa articles of impeachment, ultimate facts lang, walang naka-attach na evidence?
Ang requirement po sa pleading ay doon na dapat nakasaad ang ultimate facts. But if you look at the articles of impeachment that are before this court, it also contains evidentiary factual allegations to support the ultimate facts that are contained therein.
Thank you for that answer. Actually, that was my next question. Did it contain? And you answered it. So, with respect to the Saballa and Cabrera impeachment complaints, is it correct that there was no authentic records that were attached when they were filed? Fakto lang tong tanong ko.
If Your Honor, please, first of all, I would have to raise an issue with respect to whether this honorable court is acting as an appellate or review court of what happened during the House proceedings. The power of to initiate an impeachment complaint is exclusively lodged with the House, while the power to try and decide that the impeachment case is exclusively lodged with this honorable court. And I don't believe that it is part of the function to go back to what may have happened during the proceedings before the House,
But-
since the articles have already been transmitted to this
Well,
honorable.
Counsel, even your students, colleagues, recognize that you are a brilliant man. You're very well learned sa law, but minsan mabilis. Kasi actually, that's not where I was going. Binaliktad ko lang. So, two of my colleagues started with, or in your discussions, ano yung fishing expedition going down to ultimate facts and evidentiary. Ako, I wanted to distinguish when is it a fishing expedition and when it's not. So, I just wanted to know as a fact. Or can we take judicial notice that there was no authentic records in the Saballa and Cabrera?
What's the point again, Senator Judge? There were no authentic.
It was just preliminary because I wanted to compare it with other impeachment complaints. And I wanted to ask the question, when is it a fishing expedition or hindi? So these are legitimate questions. So factually, yung Saballa and Cabrera ba, may authentic records attached. Ang information ko wala. But I don't want to...
I believe, Senator Judge Allen, that the Zabalia and Cabrera complaints were attached as an annex,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken, to the respondent's answer. Would that be
Yes.
correct, Attorney Paul?
And to be fair, it was...
As well as the annexes.
Yes, Your
In fact, the presiding officer noticed that it lacked a page in one of the annexes to the, I think, Zabalia complaint.
So,
Which
anyway,
I think pointed out. So that's a fact.
Yeah,
So it's in the
lang-
record, Senator
yeah,
Judge
factual
Allen.
lang po. So, in the absence of authentic supporting record, what factual basis did the prosecution rely on to say that the allegations were sufficient in form and substance?
If I recall correctly, Your Honor, please, there were some attachments to both complaints. And I'm not aware of any rule in the House of Representatives as far as impeachment cases are concerned that limit what may be discussed or investigated by the committee to only what is contained and attached to the impeachment.
I'm not
complaint.
questioning if there's an attachment. I'm questioning whether there was... I'm asking question. I'm not even questioning it. I'm asking questions on if there were authentic records. So I'll move on. No? In the complaint against President Bongbong Marcos, the finding was the complaint failed to establish any factual nexus between the president and an impeachable offense. What are presented were policy and disagreements and generalized accusations, not ultimate facts. Yun ang finding ng Committee on Justice. Correct?
Yes, Your Honor, to the best of my
So
recollection.
that's my question. After answering that question, does the prosecution agree that the requirement of alleging ultimate facts applies equally to all impeachment complaints, regardless of if it's the president or the vice president, regardless if it's the ombudsman or the COA chairman?
Yes, Your Honor, and as I recall, when the members of the committee examined the complaint filed against the president, the conclusion of the committee was in fact that there were only conclusions of law contained in that complaint, not allegations of ultimate facts.
Yes. Yet in that complaint, there were documents attached, authentic records, and the House did not ask na masupina yung AMLA, BIR, and bank records of the president.
The requirement, if Your Honor, please, of ultimate facts is really based on what is alleged in the petition or complaint
But
itself.
what was the exact words of counsel? Ang katotohanan ay hindi
Confidential.
confidential. So why in the case of President Marcos is the katotohanan confidential, but in the case of Vice President Sara, it's not confidential?
Wala naman po ako maalalang ruling ng committee in the case of the president na meron silang sinabing confidential.
No,
What I recall is that the conclusion was that the complaint did not allege
Yes.
ultimate facts.
So there was a conclusion even before asking for all of this. But in this case, balikta, there was a conclusion that there's no nexus between the president and an impeachable offense. In this case, walang authentic documents pero humihingi ng subpoena kasi yung katotohanan hindi confidential. So, which goes to my, well, first, let me honor who I should honor because it seems that the Lisa Masa complaint, which was endorsed by ACT party list, was here kanina, and I think Antonio Tino, I think Sara Elago was here the last week, and I think Representative Ko was here. So in their case kasi, I can say walang selective justice because they wanted the same standards of president and vice president. So that's my next question. We want fairness for everyone and for the Filipino people, but would it be unfair to require 20 years of documents from AMLA, BIR, and bank accounts from Vice President Sara without requiring the same from President Bongbong, considering that all of these scandals is happening during his administration?
If the allegations of the complaint against the president did in fact contain ultimate facts, I would see no reason why the Committee on Justice should not have proceeded with it.
So I'll take that answer. May I ask the same question? Rule 8, ultimate facts including evidence. So the answer of the prosecution was that basta't may evidentiary facts. But ang nakalagay kasi sa Section 1 ng Rule 8, including evidence, what is the position of the defense on this?
The defense follows strictly the rules, Your Honors. While I agree with the distinguished opposing counsel na iba yung ultimate facts and evidentiary facts, no? I don't want to blur that line. Tama naman po yung sinabi ng ating opposing. But yun nga po yung punto namin, no? In the Zavalya and Cabrera complaints, wala pong ultimate facts at wala din pong evidence or evidentiary na nakakalakip doon po sa mga complaints, and which is the very issue that we brought up to the Supreme Court, Your Honor.
So if you were representing now the president and the opposing counsel was also asking for 20 years of records of AMLA bank accounts and BIR, would you still have the same position?
Your Honors,
That unless it is relevant and definite, I read in your
Yes.
pleadings, diba, in your position paper na yun yung, so kasi I'll ask na rin my next question, why is it definite in your view?
Opo. So on the first question, yes, Your Honor. Even if I were to be representing the President now, I would have the same view, no? Na hindi po pwedeng ganun ka 20 years ang span ng mga documents na hinihingi, precisely because the jurisprudence provides that for a valid subpoena to issue, it must be particularly described, plus yung sinasabi po natin na relevance. Now, to the second question as to why it is not particularly described, Your Honors, unang-una, let's start with bank accounts. Yung bank accounts na naka-enumerate sa kanilang request, it is our position na yun po yung natawag kanina na fruit of the poisonous tree. Because as you can see, lahat po ng pinanggalingan na accounts na yan ay yung AMLAC. But which we are contesting, no? Sa amin po, unlawful po yung naging disclosure sa Committee on Justice. But more importantly, pangalawa, aside from just the mere bank accounts, the documents they're asking, Your Honors, while they are specified, kung titingnan mo talaga ng mabuti kung anong hinihingi nila, they're asking for all bank records without any assertion as to why all of these are relevant to prove whatever allegation they have stated in the articles of impeachment.
I'll skip many questions here and go to that question. But to be fair, Congressman Dioknos, he said that's an exclusive authority, right, power of the House. So if I want to question the difference, I'll do that in either the Senate or as a private citizen. So I won't go into that. But I ask that now in context of whether or not the certain parameters in the subpoena you're asking for is valid or not. So let me just go to this series of questions. This is really a discussion into what is substantial facts, what's ultimate facts, what's essential facts, what are, and as you said, Attorney Powa, we don't want to bore everyone with that, but it's important in terms of due process. So basically, the ultimate facts are that establish the charge, in this case, unexplained wealth. So let me put it this way in my question to Attorney and Congressman Prosecutor Diokno. So like if I say that may kilala akong politiko, commissioner ng ganito or congressman, senator, whatever, ang SALN niya was 1 peso or what's a reasonable amount. SALN niya was 1 million, 20 years later it's 20 million versus the commissioner of BIR in 5 years, it gained 50 million compared to this congressman ganito. Then I said, eto lang income niya, unexplained wealth yan. In your view, is that sufficient na for the impeachment court then to issue the subpoenas? Or do you have to specify na, for example, you say that that commissioner, sa SALN niya, he only had 2 cars, but he actually has more than 4. Therefore, penging subpoena para sa LTO. O that commissioner, ang sabi niya, isa lang ang bahay. Pero subpoena sa LRA kasi 4 ang nakita namin. Diba? Kasi on the later examples, medyo mas malinaw yung ultimate facts. Pero yung pag sinabi mo lang, eto SALN, eto tumaas, which was my point actually in my last few vlogs, that just because tumaas yung SALN, that doesn't mean that there's ill-gotten wealth. But my question there was, does that give us now the authority to get the bank accounts, the AMLA and the BIR? Because whatever we do in the impeachment court is for impeachable officers. But nanonood din yung Sandigan Bayan, nanonood din RTC, MTC, nanonood din yung Supreme Court. So whatever rule we have here, that will influence then how we deal with barangay captains all the way to anyone who's not impeachable. No?
For unexplained wealth, Your Honor, I believe the ultimate facts must include the following. First, that the person involved amassed wealth. Second, that that wealth is manifestly disproportionate to that person's lawful income. So kailangan po natin makita kung ano yung kanyang kayamanan at kailangan natin ikumpara doon sa lehitimo niyang kinita. And that can be only determined by looking at the records that we are requesting from this honorable court.
No, but if you're just looking at the SALN at yung kinita niya, so I'll give you a example. I won't name the person para walang mag-react. But he was senator, I think in 1987, an outstanding human being. And he was telling us, etong lupa na to, nabili ko ng 1980 o 1970 na 50,000. Oh, nabenta ko ng 1990. Kaya lang sa SALN, ang nakalagay kasi doon yung acquired cost. So nilagay ko 50,000. So kung titignan mo kami, then he named some other great senators, etc. na kasabayan niya, congressman at dito. Titignan mo, si senator ganito, kami lahat. O ang SALN namin, baka 5 million. Pero yung 100,000 na lupa na binili namin noon, baka 5 million, 20 million, 30 million. So if one of those officials suddenly sold the property and then placed the money that came in, so let's say the 100,000 property was sold for 5 million, but then for example, pinang-blow up niya sa pamilya yung 500,000 before December 31 of that year, mag-i-increase yung kanyang SALN by 4.5 million. So if you just compare his income na sweldo niya with that will not show you that he has ill-gotten wealth. So compared na pagka inallege ko na ang sweldo niya 200,000 eto, pero bakit may bahay siya sa ganito, nawala sa SALN niya. Diba? So I agree na sundan natin yung ebidensya. If the SALN is much more than what you're making, that could spark your curiosity, your suspicion, and continue to investigate. But do you make the conclusion now and file the impeachment case that since malayo yung SALN sa income, therefore ill-gotten yun, without giving that person a way to explain before you subpoena every single document about their lives?
That's precisely why, Your Honor, they call it unexplained wealth. Doon po natin malalaman yan sa mga dokumento.
No, I agree.
Kung
They call it
ipaliwanag-
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I'm sorry. I'm the one. Please continue.
Kung halimbawa sa binigay niyong example ay nag-appreciate yung value of the land, then I would not call that unexplained. I would call that explained wealth.
Yes, but you're introducing a new concept now, unexplained wealth versus ill-gotten wealth. I agree with you. Unexplained wealth is that if you look at the SALN at hindi tumutugma, may may unexplained wealth. That's why you ask them to explain it. And then pag hindi maganda yung explanation and may ebidensya ka, then you can go against that person for ill-gotten wealth. Diba? But like in certain parts here, I saw some that I would consider even without asking you evidence. But for example, yung mga kumpanya, sabi dito, lugi yung kumpanya. So kung lugi yung kumpanya, hindi makaka-contribute yun sa kanyang ill-gotten wealth kung meron man. So why are we getting all the documents about those companies? doon pumapasok yung criticism ng iba, is this a fishing expedition? Kasi if I had 5 companies and they were all making money and supposedly I only own 1% of that company but I'm getting half of that income, I would agree with you, isupina lahat yan. Tingnan natin yung flow niyan, baka yan yung pumasok sa akin. Pero lugi nga yung mga kumpanya. As an example, as an example. So that's my point. Is it enough in the view of the prosecution panel just to allege, malaki yung salin mo, bigger than your monthly sweldo, both of us agree, it's unexplained. But is it ill-gotten? Or do you need more allegations to show that it was ill-gotten?
Your Honor, please, the decision whether wealth is unexplained or, as you said, ill-gotten is really a decision that this Honorable Court will make based on the evidence. Ang gusto lang po namin ay mailatag ang ebidensya sa inyong harap para kayo na mismo ang magsabi. At para malaman po yan, we have to look at the statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth. We have to look at the lawful income reported in the ITRs. We have to look at the bank records in terms of kung ano yung pumasok at lumabas sa kanilang mga accounts.
Let
As
me-
far as, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
As far as the businesses are concerned, that has to do with the third subcharge under unexplained wealth. Yung pong continuing to participate in business interests despite the clear and express prohibition provided in the Constitution. We want to know whether those businesses, yung ba ay mga operational ba ito? Ito ba ay talagang sasabihin natin na nandun yung sinasabi nga inaamin ni Vice President sa kanyang salin na business interest na niya yon.
Yeah, I'm skipping because this is mostly questions on fishing expedition. I'll go to the defense after this, but can you tell us the difference between evidence and proof? In your layman's term or legal terms? Or if you want to look it up, but in how do we explain to people the difference between evidence and proof?
Napakabigat po ng inyong tanong.
In our words lang,
I will
para
try
lang
my best,
maintindihan.
Your Honor, to answer it. In a court proceeding, whether we're speaking of an impeachment court or a regular court, the judges look at the evidence. They may never be able to know the entire truth kasi ang pangyayari ay nangyari dati pa po. Essentially, a trial is really a reconstruction of something that happened before. So it may happen in some cases that there is enough evidence to make conclusions as far as a judgment is concerned, even if the members of the court did not get to see the entire truth.
Yes.
Ang gusto po namin maiwasan na dito sa impeachment court ay meron po tayong hindi mailatag na ebidensya sa mga maestrado po na nandito para talagang maging buo yung larawan nila bago po kayo magpapasya.
I don't think there's any question that all of us here want na may latag yung ebidensya. The question is, do you have the evidence or are you fishing for the evidence? And that's a question not only for you, but for every single impeachment process, not only the umabot dito, because myself, Senator Zubiri, Senator Chis Escudero, then later on Senator Villanueva, has been in the House with many times during impeachments of presidents and chief justices, no? But the reason I ask between evidence and proof is because if you have the evidence, you want the opportunity, diba, to bring it here, show the relevancy, connect it to the crime, we admit it, so that if it's true, then we can convict. The opposite sides na will either question, hindi admissible yan, or admissible, pero walang relationship yan, etc. No? So what I'm saying is that if you're going to prove your case with no evidence, except that if you get all of that, then magiging arbitrary yung House of Representatives, sinong gusto nilang i-impeach, because almost any public official who's been there for a long time, you will see discrepancies in their SALN because unang-una iba yung acquisition cost at iba yung current value at iba din yung deadline ng December 31, no? Which after this I'll ask the defense to answer, then I'll go into the AMLA, which is different from bank accounts, no? So if you're coming to the court with evidence already, but kinukuha mo yung supina na yan, di ba, to further prove your point, I don't think there'll be a question there. As Attorney Powa said kanina na kung yung BIR box na yan, alam natin yung laman, and dapat gamitin dito, then inallege nyo na. Pero kung hindi alam yung laman, are we fishing there if there's a tax evasion or wala? I don't know the answer. I'm asking you the question. You can answer it in any way you're comfortable in answering.
If I may briefly narrate the procedure that the House might had to undergo for the articles to reach this honorable court. When the complaints were filed before the House of Representatives, the Committee on Justice was tasked not with conducting a trial, not with ferreting out all the evidence, but simply determining whether there was probable cause to proceed with the case. So hindi po namin hinanap yung kabuuan ng ebidensya dahil hindi po namin tungkulin yon. When we made the determination that there was sufficient probable cause to proceed with that case, then that is what we submitted in terms of the articles of impeachment that reached this honorable court. Ngayon, syempre po, just like a preliminary investigation conducted by a prosecutor, ang hawak lang po niyang ebidensya, ang titingnan lang po niya ay kung merong probable cause. Not all the evidence yet is before that prosecutor because wala pa pong trial. The presentation of evidence, even the subpoena or compulsion to present evidence will only happen when the trial takes place. And yung tinutukoy po ninyong fishing expedition, yun ay maaaring sabihin natin nangyari kung only if the party requesting the evidence or documents ay nagbabaka sakali lang, baka may makuha tayo dito. In our case, I have to disagree that there was any sort of fishing expedition because based on what the Committee on Justice and later the plenary of the House found was sufficient, there was enough cause to proceed with the
I'll go
case.
to probable cause, but yung sinabi mo, baka sakaling may makukuha dito. You said hindi ganon. So ano makukuha natin if we grant all the subpoenas you're requesting?
The evidentiary facts, Your Honor, that were not yet, hindi pa nakita ng House nung ang ginagawa lang po namin ay determinahin ang probable cause.
So nagbabaka sakali din.
Hindi po.
No, kasi you said,
Because there is basis for
Yeah.
requesting for
so
the
what
bank
will you see?
records.
You still don't know what you'll see.
We are basing the request for the bank records on the evidence and information provided by the Anti-Money Laundering Council, which appears to show that there were billions of pesos that went through the accounts
Okay.
of the Vice President during that
Let's go
period
to that
of time.
with the permission of the defense, then I think you're listing down naman. So the Anti-Money Laundering Council, no, does not deal with income, they deal with flow, right? So pag sinabing billion, that doesn't mean that a certain official has billions in their account. So meaning if I have 1 million pesos deposit on January 1, and then on January 5, I take it out and put it in time deposit for 1 month, and 1 month later it comes out with 2% time deposit, hindi na 1 million yon. 1 million in, 1 million out, 2 million, 1 million in the time deposit, 3 million. Paglabas na may 2%, 1 million 2 pesos, 1 million 2,000 pesos, 4 million na yon. So hindi evidentiary yun, speculation sa ikot ng pera. Meaning, all I have to do is find someone with a bank account and give them a long enough period, and I will say that they have hundreds of millions or billions.
Precisely, Your Honor, that is why we want the bank records to be produced. Because, as you mentioned, the only reports submitted by the Anti-Money Laundering Council pertain to covered and suspicious transaction reports. They do not show us the exact balances that were contained
And
in those bank accounts. And it is only the bank records that will provide that information.
Agree, and it's suspicion. When you say suspicion, that doesn't mean necessarily suspicion that it's attached to a AMLA crime, but it could be suspicious meaning 6 months walang gumagalaw, biglang everyday ngayon gumalaw. Diba? Yun yung definition ng part ng definition ng AMLA. But if you cannot connect AMLA and the bank accounts, that's precisely what the defense and other people are saying. Aren't you nga fishing between the three? Fishing means hindi mo pa hawak, so you're trying to get a fish, in this case a very big fish. Diba? So, pag sinabing hindi fishing expedition, meron ka ng ebidensya. But you want to prove that in court, and you need that to prove it, but you know what to prove already.
If we bring Your Honor's logic to its conclusion, that would mean that the Committee on Justice would have to conduct a full-blown trial, get all the evidence at that level, so that we do not have to fish anymore when we get to this court. When that is not the contemplation of the procedure for impeachment under the
I
Constitution.
won't argue what
With the
what the
permission,
House...
with the